Greetings. I am so excited to be on here today because I have had the grand pleasure of attuning 17 new Reiki practitioners to Reiki level 1 and Reiki level 2. The backgrounds expand anywhere from doulas to nurses, mental health therapists, and just those that want this modality for themselves and for their families. And I have been asked to provide more virtual support and information about what a Reiki session looks like, what a distance healing looks like, and to really support you with material that is always accessible on my channel. So today I'm going to address what is a Reiki session, what to expect on the practitioner side. So this is really speaking to the practitioners that have taken my courses, that have studied underneath my leadership and want more support so that they can feel confident in the setting of being a Reiki practitioner. So the first thing I would say is that you want it to be in a setting that is comfortable to you. So the way I teach Reiki is that your comfort and your sense of ease is part of the medicine, and that's what matters the most. So you want to be as familiar with the environment as possible. If you intend to be in a person's home, make sure you bring elements that make the environment comfortable for you. Ask all the questions so that you're not in a position that feels uncomfortable. Make sure you're wearing comfortable clothing. And so your comfort really means everything as a practitioner, a Reiki practitioner. And so try to get as much information as possible. But if you're set up in an office space that's yours, then that's ideal. If you're doing Reiki sessions in a person's home, then try to get as much information about the setting and bring things that you may need to heighten your level of comfort. So that's the first thing. So usually sessions are anywhere between 45 minutes to 60 minutes in length. And again, we vary, right, as practitioners in terms of how we get into understanding the energy dynamics of a person. And so this is how I have always practiced and how I've always known to access the energetic aspect of a person. So they come into the space and obviously you're greeting them. And I always like to do a Q&A before I put my hands on anyone or before we move into any actual work. I sit them down in the space and I say, hey, before you even lay down, let's just talk. Do you want to know anything about Reiki? Can I offer some information about what it is you're about to experience? Let's kind of knock out some things, some really broad, basic things that we can address beforehand. And so that usually puts the patient at ease when they have no idea what to expect. So then, usually Reiki, the setting is clothes are completely on, right? So at no point in time does someone have to disrobe, take off their clothes. Depending upon the room, they may want to put an extra blanket on. I know in my office, I have sheets and blankets, so the patient's always covered, but they're never disrobed for Reiki. So we don't need a patient to take off their clothes. So when they get to that point of laying on the table, you guide them to do that. The next few minutes is usually them settling on the table, feeling grounded. And so you are guiding them into a sense of relaxation and ease and settling into this environment and this new experience. So the way I guide that or facilitate that is with breath work. So I usually introduced diaphragmatic breathing, where the patient's holding one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly, and I'm doing it with them, and I'm synchronizing my breath with theirs. So we're breathing together, and usually to a count of 5 or 10, we take deep inhales, nice and expansive inhales so that the belly is rising, and then nice and expansive exhalations, okay? And so that goes on for about 5 to 10 breaths. You can feel the room change after breath work. From the breath work, I go into our gasho, hand position, and our gokai, which is prayer hands, or if you want to keep the hands open for prayer hands, whatever prayer hands work for your prayer style. Hands are opening into prayer position, and we're reciting the 5 principles. So we go to our affirmations in Reiki, and we recite those 5 principles, okay? And so that is usually how I open up the setting, and really allowing the person to settle into their body. This is a somatic experience, and so we want them to feel safe in the room and in the space that you've created with them. And you also want them to feel safe in their body. So that's the first attempt, is to make them feel grounded and present, and also to ensure that you feel grounded and present as well. So after reciting the 5 principles 5 times, I take a deep inhale, and we exhale, and we release. And then we transition into reading the chakras. So this is where I grab my pendulum. I actually happen to have one with me, and I'm using my pendulum as a diagnostic tool to detect energy imbalances. Now that's a whole class, that's a whole nother class, but the pendulum is going to work along the chakras to give me a sense of energetic dysfunction with each chakra. So I'm not going to get into what that is, but that's how I diagnose the energy system, and I start from head to root. And so I go through explaining what each chakra represents before measuring the energy center. And so for instance, if I start with the crown, I'll usually say crown is hovering above the head. This is your connection to source. Religiously, this would be your connection to God, or to divinity, or to Allah, the creator, the universe, all that is known and unknown. And so this chakra represents a very expansive connection that you have to something greater than yourself. And usually a relationship with this chakra is based in your structured practices, your prayer practices, your meditative practices, your practices where you calm the mind down and you allow spirit to dominate the body. And so that is what that chakra represents. And that chakra is of value because when things seem overwhelming from the human experience, we can lean into that understanding and allow that greater, expansive, loving energy to come in and co-create reality with us. And so, so that's usually how I prompt the person for what the chakra is in terms of explaining it and what it represents. And so the pendulum goes over the chakra. I read the swing and the momentum of the chakra. It's a really quick reading, and then we move on. And so I'm computing and kind of capturing what that chakra reading was, and then we move on to the next until we get to the root. So that process takes maybe 3 to 5 minutes. If something needs to be explored, it could take longer if a patient is resonating with something that comes up. But we're not really exploring whether or not the chakra is imbalanced or not. We're just confirming that it is. We'll come back to it. So then once the chakras are fully read, then I, ask the patient, does that resonate with them? And they usually say it does. And so now that gives us a groundwork for what we're trying to do in this session. And so the way I teach Reiki, I'm not promising to correct anything. I'm not promising to cure anything. Reiki is this beautiful energy system that goes where it needs to go. So my ego can be completely set aside, and I can then move into the facilitator of healing from that space. So from that point on, lights are dimmed. The patient can now go back into comfortable breathing, relaxing position. They may grab a blanket at this point. And as a Reiki practitioner, my shoes are off in the room so I can feel extremely grounded. I'm going off to the side, and that's where I do my prayer practice. I'm doing my energetic realignment. I'm feeling grounded and secure within myself. I'm calling in whatever energies that I need to feel supported and grounded and loved and seen. And so for me, that's a reset. And when I feel that readiness of groundedness, love, protection, light, I move into the person's field. And so then my hands are going to hover over the areas that I need to work on, or sometimes I do make contact. So I'm a doctor of acupuncture, so I don't have a problem touching the body. So there are areas where I actually do engage with the body, but usually Reiki is totally appropriate if you're just kind of hovering over the chakras. And then after you do your chakra work, you may move into the legs, move into the knees, into the legs, the ankles. And when we get to the feet, as practitioners, we never stand at the foot. We are always standing to the side as energy is passing through the body and eliminating itself through the feet. So you don't want to be a recipient for that energy. And so you're usually off to the side so energy can move through the feet. Once that is complete, that takes about 15-20 minutes of space holding, because you're not rushing that. You're really being mindful. And as you're moving through each area that requires Reiki touch, you're breathing, you're present, you're not in your head as a practitioner, you're not elsewhere, you are fully present as you're acting as a conduit. And you're attuned to your breath, and you're attuned to what is happening beneath your hands. So your presence is fully there and fully on board. After this is complete, you are then going to sweep the body, guide the energy down toward the feet, and you're almost like enveloping the patient and enclosing all of that work, usually stepping aside, deep bow, gratitude for the experience. You can gently turn the lights on and ask the patient to softly open their eyes and guide them back to awareness. So usually after all of that, I leave a little bit of space to allow for a patient to talk about what they experienced. Did anything come up for them? Did they have any thoughts that came up for them and surfaced? I may share what I experienced. And some of the things that I can experience are anything from maybe some heaviness over a certain joint. I could sometimes experience the need to hang around a particular chakra longer than others. And all of that has value. And intuitively, over time, you will understand why that is. Is it required to know during each Reiki session? No. But with practice and with tons of experience, your intuitive abilities are going to start to kick in and give you a sense of why there's always something extra going on around the knees or the ankles or around the heart chakra. And so a lot of wisdom, your own intuitive wisdom, starts to evolve from being a somatic practitioner. I really hope this was helpful to those that are Reiki practitioners, somatic therapists. Your presence, your intention, your breath work, and your compassionate touch is the medicine that is the healer, the true healer that shows up in these sessions.